What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king. Welcome you back to more Let's Play Destiny. In the last episode, we finished off the Galran encounter here in the Duality dungeon, and today it is time to finish off this dungeon with the last two encounters and the traversal section in between. Now, much like the last encounter, this next one, the Vault encounter, is very similar in that you've got standards you need to put down, bells you need to shoot, a boss you need to do damage to, and incendiors you need to kill to unlock those bells. However, this time, the room is separated into 4 parts instead of 2. What I'm looking for is the symbol on the wall that matches one of the glowing banners that is in the center of the room. You can see we've got axes there, and then on the other side is cup. The other 2 possibilities are War Beast and Sun, and that's at least our callouts for them. And you can see right here, I have found the axes one, so now I am waiting for my other teammate to go to the cup section, which I do believe they're at, so now it is up to the third person to ring the bell. Now, here in the Nightmare Dimension, we're going to follow the path that is nearest wherever we were standing before going into the Nightmare Dimension. That's why those symbols matter. So I'm going to follow this path, kill all of the Cabal here, although it's not 100% necessary to kill them all. It just makes your life easier. But the important one is the Colossus here, because if you kill the Colossus, it's going to spawn an Incendior, and this is the guy, or sorry, not an Incendior, a Centurion. That is the guy holding the standard essence. So then we grab that, and we're going to have to run all the way back. Just like in any other case, killing the standard bearer does increase your nightmare time, so you have, I think, a grand total of like 30 seconds to get it, but if you are running this with only one runner, I would highly recommend only grabbing one banner at a time, unless you are absolutely god tier in the mobility and ability department in actually moving around the map. But if you can get both of your standards, run back to the bell, shoot it, and now we're going to dunk. This is going to begin damage, but there's not only one boss in this encounter. There are actually 3. The good news is, though, is that these bosses have much lower health than the Galran we fought in the first encounter, so we should be able to take him out no problem. There's also no time limit on taking him out because we're fighting him in this dimension as well. And, okay, I was going to say, don't miss the golden gun. That would be very embarrassing. But you can see now, oh, I can miss the sword spin, though. Okay, that's still embarrassing. But once we take him down, new banners appear. You can see War Beast just appeared and also Sun appeared. So we're going to have to go in those directions next, but it's the same concept every time. Now this time, I'm going to be letting my teammates do the running for me while I manage the middle. And this is just to kind of showcase what that person's job is. So I want to make sure that I have everything dead in here. I believe the Incendiors are already dead. So as soon as they make the call out here, we're going to ring the bell, and we're going to get this thing started. After that Legionary goes down. I think he's still, yeah, I think my teammate there is still looking for the spot, but I do believe we're good. Now, you don't want to stand in any precarious positions, because keep in mind that the geometry of the Nightmare Dimension and the geometry of reality are not exactly the same. For instance, if I was standing in the center of the floor, I would be dropped into a pit there, and that wouldn't have been good. That would have really sucked. So you got to make sure you're standing. Generally, again, by the bells is a pretty close spot, because the bells are always positioned in the same places regardless of what dimension you're in, thus making them a lot easier, or a lot more consistent as far as like knowing where you're supposed to stand. Now, in this encounter, once again, the Incendiors are opposite of whichever bell is active. Which bell is active is completely random. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to go to the other side, which apparently I decided to dawdle around a lot in this gameplay. I don't know why I did that, because these enemies spawn endlessly. But once you actually get down here, kill the Incendiors, the bell is now available as my teammates collect the standards. And again, I meet them back at the bell while killing as many enemies as I can, just because we don't want them to get ganked as soon as they get back here to the middle, because obviously that's going to cause a little bit of problems. Now, I will say that the enemies in this encounter don't hit too terribly hard, but it is something to keep in mind that they could end up causing you a few problems. But all right, so the first boss was a Centurion. This one is a giant Incendior. We're going to deal with him next. So let's just take him out, although that Thunder Crash pretty much did all the damage we absolutely needed here. So down it goes. All right, third boss time, final one. We've got Sun this time, and I'm looking for my other one, although maybe that doesn't matter as much. It is axes. Okay, so little mix-up from the first 2 times. So I do believe I'm going to be the runner again this time, but I at least went after the Incendiors to make this just a little bit easier. And you also notice in the tooltips down in the bottom left, it says a bell is ready to be rung once all the Incendiors are dead, so that does also help out just a little bit. But back to axes I go, same as before. Once everybody is ready, we ring that bell, I think, because sometimes you can shoot it from here, but it's also not like the easiest thing, especially when the stairs are blocking it. I think the other bell on the other side is a bit easier. I also do think my friend is lost trying to find exactly which path they're supposed to go. Okay, there we go. So, 1 whole minute, and Cabal teleporting out of the sky, even though they were apparently jumping in that direction until they suddenly weren't. But hey, get some more heavy out of this entire situation. This is not really an encounter where you need weapons with high DPS. This is much more of an encounter where just ad clear matters, where you can actually dish out a lot of damage, but reasonable damage to the bosses, because obviously you don't want to be trying to kill them for absolutely ever. That's just going to take a long frickin' time. So this is why I'm running with a sword in here. It's also nice because that second boss, the Incendiar one, can knock you off a cliff very easily with its like concussive blast that it uses to send you backwards. So that is nice to have something that you can actually like swing back to safety with if need be. But all right, I'm here, the other one's here. Now we're just waiting on our third, and then back we can go. And I think now we are all together. Oh no, we're still. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. I forgot we rotated. So everyone got to do the middle job at least once, which is generally not what we do. We usually just leave one person to do the same job every single time, just because it's a lot simpler. But just for the purposes of showing this off, that is what we did this time. Oh no, wait! I think right here, I genuinely think right here, I miss my golden gun. This is so embarrassing. Ah, no, I missed the headshot. I hit him, but I didn't get the headshot. Oh, that sucks. And there we go. That is the vault encounter, leaving just one more encounter, and a pretty simple one at that, actually. One of the easier final bosses, if I do say so myself. So down we go. We do have to get through one last traversal section, though, but there is another secret chest included in this one, so it's probably good to pay attention just for that, especially because the gear in this dungeon is really difficult to get anything good out of. As an example, that one I just hovered over right there, that's the submachine gun in this dungeon. It just doesn't get anything good, like, ever. There's, like, one very specific roll you can get from it, and pretty much all the other, like, 100 potential rolls you can get just suck. Like, that's just... This dungeon was unfortunately given a lot of great weapon designs and just a lot of, like, bad perk design, which is terrible, because I love this dungeon and I wish I could run it more. There's only 2 weapons that were also made craftable from this dungeon, the machine gun and the fusion rifle, actually. And... Oh, that's right. I forgot. Why? Oh, see, this is the thing about doing dungeons and raids in this game, is you have to just be willing to just mess with your friends sometimes. You can't always be taking things absolutely seriously. And that thing I collected right there, that was actually one of the many lore collectibles that you can find in this dungeon that are going to give you just a lot of extraneous dialogue from Calus, but the reason I'm not really placing too much of an emphasis on it is simply because I haven't collected them all. If I was going after absolutely every single one of them, I'd make a little bit more of a point of it, but when they're heard out of order and out of context, they just don't really make a ton of sense, or they're not really all that helpful to the actual information of the dungeon, so we just continue on. And this traversal section is simple because all it is going up. In the first one, you were obviously going outwards. The second one, you were running all over the ship. And this one is just a constant increase ever upward. An ascension, if you will. So we're going to be hitting different bells as we make our way up. And a few of them are at long range, like I think this next one is. But the thing is you don't want to hit it too soon in some of these, because a lot of these areas, like where we're at right now, in the Nightmare Dimension, they don't have a floor beneath, so it would be a good way of getting somebody killed. Just keep your team together before you hit the bells. That's really the best advice I can give in this dungeon, is unless they're already dead and you're running out of time, or if you're running out of time in general and at least one of you can be saved. Like let's say you're all running for the bell before the timer runs out. That is an opportunity where you're probably going to want to actually just save yourself to at least keep the run going. But aside from that, would not recommend it. Just make sure everybody's together and working together and you're going to be fine. But all right. Just got to get through these last few enemies, which I do think that is the last set of them. Like I said, not too complicated. And then we're going to have a jump down where we can finally head off to the last encounter. Now, with everything that's been said in the background up to this point, everything about Calus that we know, there is only one possible answer for what Calus's greatest shame could be, his greatest disappointment, or at least what he believes to be his greatest disappointment, especially when you have a mind as twisted as Calus.
I name her Titan, for the brightest star in our sky. May she outshine it always.
Definitely not a hint or anything. And now all we have to do is drop down in here, and the fight begins. I mean, you actually have to like walk past the stairs to actually properly begin the fight, but just make sure you don't jump past that point, or it's going to automatically begin. So this is going to be a DPS heavy fight, but ad clear is important as well. Make sure that you have everything at the ready. We use linear fusions for this fight because although you're going to be at very close range for the boss damage, you also are going to have a lot of options to hit a very still target with a lot of damage with a very big crit spot. So it still works out very, very well. If machine guns were actually any good at DPS, we'd probably use those, but they are not. So once again, there are banners to go after. There are 2 glowing spots on the floor, but they are not going to directly lead to damage. So what you need to do is kill the incendiaries around the room. There are 2 incendiaries per bell, 6 incendiaries total, and 3 bells total. It doesn't switch out this time. And what you need to do is make sure that you are propped up on one of these platforms with the correct symbol underneath it. Once our person finally hits the bell here, which you want to do quickly, mainly because the ads continue to infinitely respawn. As soon as you spawn in, there's going to be a Scion here in the Nightmare Dimension. Kill it and take its standard essence and go. Now, here's the catch in this area. Well, first of all, the Colossus is not necessary to kill, but I would get rid of them. There's one on either side of the area, and you're going to want to get rid of them because they will cause you a lot of problems. However, those Scions on the opposite platforms that are not tied to the standards that we are getting, do not kill those. You're just going to have to deal with them shooting at you because unlike the standard bearers you want to kill who give you more time, if you kill those Scions, you actually lose time. And yes, you can instantly kill yourself. You'll lose 10 seconds per wrong Scion that you kill. So don't kill them unless you know you have all the time in the world, although I would honestly say just don't bother. Don't bother killing them. It's going to make your life a living hell if you try to do so. So we're going to dunk the banners, but like I said, it's not damage time yet. So we're going to have to dunk another pair of banners in the same manner that we did before. It's usually going to be the opposite banners this time. So it looks like we're going to have a Sun and I think that's War Beast, but I'm just running straight for Sun right here. No, it's Cup. So War Beast and Axes would have been the last one. So again, just wait for everyone to get on their platform. You don't have to technically be standing on it, but you do need to know which platform you're on. I like to stand on it because I think it's very easy to just come into the Nightmare Dimension and instantly kill the Scion that's directly in front of me because, well, you don't get it twisted. But again, if you can go fast enough, kill them quick enough, as I almost didn't do there, you can grab the standard essence before the Colossus shots make it to you, and then you can kill the guy. And then we just need to wipe out the room so that we are able to go back. Now, in here, there are only 2 Incendiors that you have to go after. Only in the Reality Dimension are there all 6. So kill all of them, and then once all of them are dead, then you're going to be able to get back to the bell. And off we can go. So let's do this thing. And now you'll get to see how we actually activate DPS. So once again, go dunk these banners, which I just went to the wrong side. Go right past Keitel, who luckily doesn't do too much damage. But at least not with her stomps anyway. But she can hurt you in other ways. It's really honestly the ads you need to worry about in this encounter because there's so many of them, and not to mention the snipers on top of it doing the most damage, that it's very easy to get knocked down. But once all 4 banners are dunked, the chains around the big bell in the center of the room are going to start to glow. Now, the chains are the part that you shoot. You don't want to shoot the regular bells. You want to shoot the big bell, or at least the chains around the big bell. So get it in your sights, start doing damage. You know you're doing it right when you're hitting the jewel. It's going to bring down a gong that's going to ring the huge one, and then begins the encounter. Now, for this part, rather than stand on platforms, we are standing at our respective bells. There's 3 bells, and you want to have 1 person at each one. Because as soon as this part starts, Keitel is going to immediately book it towards a bell. To slow her down, you can trigger her boss stomp over and over again to make sure you're all in position. But what you need to do is be in range of the bell by the time you ring it, but so does she. All 4 of you have to be in the center of this black circle that's around the bell. Once you do that, Keitel is going to stop dead cold for that 10 seconds, and you're going to get the Waking Resonance buff for those 10 seconds. That is the only time where you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. If you ring the bell and you're not in the circle, you might as well not bother doing damage because you won't do hardly anything to her. In fact, I would honestly recommend now just shooting all the Scions in the arena because this is when you can kill them. So again, we trigger those boss stops a few times until she gets close and start doing damage. If she reaches the bell before you ring it, DPS is over. You start all over again, and that can get really infuriating, so you really need to make sure that you crowd control her until you have her exactly where you want her. Now, we just quite didn't finish it off on the second bell, which is honestly very easy to do. It was just kind of a sloppy phase. Partially my fault because I hadn't reloaded my linear fusion before that. But again, let her get close. She can do the stomp to, like, waste a little bit of time, and then take her down. And that's it. That is the Duality Dungeon, everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Destiny. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Breathe. You have returned to reality. I shared your experiences and am uncertain what to make of it all, but I believe there is yet more to find within. Should you be willing to delve into his nightmares again?